How do you create a support system to support your weight loss? Right. That's the topic here. And there's three kind of key areas that I want to talk about because this is one of the most overlooked aspects of weight loss is that so often we think of losing weight almost as a personal solitary process, right? That's kind of the diet thing they've taught us is that you're going to start a diet and just do it on your own and no support system needed. And I find that to not be very true. And so the first thing I want to talk about, there's three of them, but the first thing I want to talk about is the people around you, friends, family, coworkers. We're going to start there because they are not the support system, unfortunately, in most cases. So I'm not saying that it could never be a support system, but I think you want to go into your weight loss assuming that family, friends, coworkers, acquaintances, people in your life now are not going to be the support system for your weight loss. If you do have support system from those people, great, consider it a bonus, but it is not their job to support you in this. I know that sounds messed up. Most people are just kind of just doing what they can to just survive day to day. So they don't have the energy mentally, physically, or emotionally to support your weight loss in the way that you would benefit from most. The second thing about those people that are in your life is that a lot of times they don't support you because they don't necessarily want you to succeed. Now, I don't blame people for this, so I want to make that clear. However, it's really important to recognize that when you start changing, when you start making healthier choices in your life and you start slimming down, you start living better, it puts a lot of pressure on people in your life, and we don't want to know that. We don't want to think that. We don't want to think that we're, that people in our lives don't want us to succeed. But it's just kind of true, because it's kind of like when you start eating better, when you start living healthier, it's kind of like you're holding up a mirror to them and it kind of makes them more aware of what they're doing, the situation they're in. And that can be uncomfortable, So I think it doesn't feel fair that on top of like trying to eat better and exercise and make healthy lifestyle changes, that on top of that, you also have to be sensitive to the people in your life and understand that they don't necessarily want you to change. Okay. But that's how I see it. And so that may not be your case, but it may be your case. And if that's what you're dealing with, then you have to acknowledge it and then find solutions. So let's get to the two solutions in terms of how do you find someone that, how do you find a support system? And I think the first step is we want to break that support system into two categories. The first one is I'm going to start with someone that you can learn from. Okay. Because a lot of times when it comes to weight loss, we'll get a diet plan or a book and we kind of learn the ideas of it. And then we try and do it all ourselves. And that's a very difficult thing to do. Again, if we put it in like trying to learn a language by yourself, trying to learn a musical instrument by yourself, that's kind of hard, right? Because you're starting with a lack of awareness of how to do this. And even if you read a book on it, even if you listen to a language program, there's a lot of nuance that you're missing. So the first step is to find someone who's getting the results that you want. Okay. And when I say results you want, what I mean is not just strategies, not just like what to do, but what is the mindset behind it? How are they thinking about things? Again, it's the subtle, I use a phrase like the soft skills of weight loss, because so often when it comes to weight loss, we're so fixated on the hard skills of calories and nutrition and macros and all the specifics, but we forget the soft skills of mindset, the beliefs you have, what you think's possible, who your role models are. So being able to learn from someone who's not just getting the results you want, but getting the results you want in the way that you want is so helpful. And so the closer you can get to that person, in terms of interacting with them and speaking with them and really understand their mindset, the more valuable it's going to be for you. But that's one of the key supports, is that you're going to be able to learn from people that can kind of guide you along the way, right? They're at least a step ahead of you. And so you can learn from them. And now there's the next category of support system for you that you want to seek out is people that are the same level as you. I guess, or a level behind. So maybe there's a third category. But you want people that you're kind of going through this with. That's really, really helpful. And I can tell you in my program, we have group coaching calls, and people getting to see other people dealing with the exact same things they're dealing with. Not only do they learn the skills and strategies needed to kind of move forward. But I think more importantly, what happens is people don't feel so isolated, and they don't feel like I'm the only one dealing with this. You know, once you start to realize that everyone's dealing with this, everyone trying to lose weight is dealing with these kind of odd things that you hadn't thought of before, right? Because your weight loss isn't about just like the calories. It's not just like knowing exactly what to do. It's the motivation. It's the feeling momentum. It's the encouragement that a group can bring, you know, or it doesn't have to be a big group, but just at least one other person who kind of can relate to what you're going through. And having that in your life is so helpful because you don't feel so isolated. I'm telling you, anytime we try to do something on our own, we're always going to have ups and downs. And when the downs come, if we're all by ourselves, then it's very difficult to stay on track because our mind starts working against us. You say, well, everyone else can do this. It's me. There's something wrong with me. I don't have the motivation. I don't have the willpower. I can't do this. And when you start seeing a group of people that you can relate to and you say, okay, they're just like me, and you see them coming up with the same problems, and then you see them passing through those problems, you find them, you see them finding genuine solutions to things they thought they would never answer. When you see that week after week along the path, it's very helpful. Now, again, you've probably done this in school, now school's a different context a little bit, but again, you have someone showing you what to do. And if you have questions, they know, and they can help you move along the path. And then you're seeing other people in the same situation you're in. So you feel a sense of connection and a sense of context to what you're actually doing here. And that, yeah, it sounds easy when someone describes it to you how to do it, but the actual process of learning and actually getting the skills under your belt is something that takes time and reinforcement, and it's difficult at first, And so when you're in a group of people that are going through that same process together, again, they always say like misery loves company, but there's a truth to that, right? If when we're by ourselves trying to lose weight, as soon as we hit a rough spot, we think we're the only one. We think it's because of us. And when you hit a rough spot in a group, well, you've already seen other people hit the rough spots and you've seen how they've overcome them. But now when you do hit that rough spot, you have a different context for it because you're not by yourself. You realize, oh yeah, this is what Mary was talking about last week. This is the same thing she was dealing with. And so you're kind of prepared for that, and consistently seeing other people move through their struggles, approach them, acknowledge them, identify them, and move through them. Watching that process, over and over and over again, it builds up kind of that resilience muscle that I think is so weak with people with dieting. And I think a big reason why it is so weak is there's such a lack of support systems when people want to lose weight. To be honest, that's why Weight Watchers was probably one of the better programs. I mean, the plan itself isn't anything that great, but the community aspect to it was very valuable. And so I always look to emulate that in my program. And it is very valuable when people get to see each other. So again, the takeaway from all this is to really take a step back from your weight loss and look at the support system that you have. Again, start with the people that are currently in your life that are not, their job is not to be a support system. And to some degree, you have to manage their lack of enthusiasm for your success. But then find a support system, find someone you can learn from that can kind of help you and guide you along the way. It shortcuts the system, and find a group of people, or at least a person or a couple people that are going through the same process with you. It is probably the most effective strategy to get the results that you want.